Good morning, my fellow human beings, and welcome to the Worldview Bros podcast. Awesome. It's so good to be here. I'm Sal, and this is my brother Jim, a.k.a. Slippin' Jimmy, a.k.a. Butterbeard, a.k.a. Jimbo Slice, a.k.a. The Aducinator, a.k.a. Jimmy Cocoa Puff. I should know all of these, right, Jim? I should have. Jim just got an awesome shirt. Which I'm a little salty. I didn't get one either. But
yeah.
No, just kidding. It's whatever. But he got an awesome shirt, Worldview Bro shirt. In the back had everything, all the different names that we've given Jim in the show. Our sister Sophia, man, she's just so creative.
I know.
That's awesome. I thought that was super cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I thought you'd be wearing it.
Well, yeah.
No one could see it, right?
Well, hey, you did forget a name, though. You forgot Bronchitis Jim. Yeah, that's my new name.
Yeah.
That's basically me this fall, winter.
Oh, my gosh. That's the worst, man.
Yeah.
I felt it coming on, and I made sure I went to the doctor and got antibiotics. So I've been on antibiotics. I've been on antibiotics for the last week or so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all good. Like, I can't believe I waited this long to get into the whole teledoc thing.
Oh,
you know?
Dude.
I always thought that would be like a pain, but no, it's actually super easy.
It's the easiest thing in the world. The pain is going.
Yeah.
Going,
oh, yeah, no, right.
Just you got to wait in the office for forever, and then
hey, nobody got time for that.
Blah blah blah, and it's just awkward.
Yeah.
And then they tell you, okay, I'm gonna send this over, and then it takes an hour for them to get the freaking prescription over there.
Yeah.
It takes forever. Teledoc. Or MD Live. Just
yeah.
Right away.
Hey,
right
there you go. Dang. So, what did you get any pretty good loot, Sal, for Christmas?
Oh, yes, I did. So, for the last 4 years, I've literally, or maybe even 5 years, every year I've been asking for a PS4. I just started off putting it in my list, just let's see if maybe somebody gives me a gift card for it, or maybe somebody gets it for me, And instead of me being like a grown man and just buying a PS4, I just kept putting it on my Christmas list.
Okay.
And finally this year, my beautiful wife, got me a PS4, and probably just because I was nonstop talking about it. So
she's just over it,
It's whatever, I'm just gonna get it for him. And I also just got a ton of games. Really excited, just playing. And I'm not much of a gamer, I'm not a huge gamer, unless it's board games, I'm a video gamer. I'm not a huge video gamer, but there are some games that I really like on PS4. Definitely one of them being Uncharted, the Uncharted series. That was just a game that I really fell in love with, and any of the sports games. Played in college all the time, so
yeah.
I'm excited. I got NBA 2K, and I started playing it last night, and that was fun too.
And wait, tell me again, the other one, Elder Scrolls?
So Austin, my brother-in-law, he got Elder Scrolls Online, so then he bought it for me, and it's if any of you who are familiar with Skyrim, the game, it's basically Skyrim but online, and you can play with other guys and other people online and go on quests and stuff like that. It's built up a character. It's super cool, especially for Austin, my brother-in-law. He's super into D&D, and it's kind of like an outlet for D&D for him, because you're able to just explore and play your character, and it's really, really cool. So we played a little bit last night, and that was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, for our audience, if you hear this sizzling, I don't know if that comes out in the sound. We're trying to get this fire going. We're outside here. Gotta set the stage, We're outside. It's early morning. We figured, hey, get the fire pit going. We're still struggling with that, baby.
Yeah. Oh, I totally hear it coming through.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Do you hear it? Is it going through?
Maybe.
Oh, man.
I don't know.
Sorry, folks.
No.
But, trying to stay warm here.
Cool.
It's not even that cold out here.
Right? Yeah, but
But why not have a fire?
it's the experience, Sal.
We've already started, so why give up?
Yeah.
now?
Exactly.
I want to share something with you.
Uh-huh.
I figure we'd take the beginning of this show to just complain a little bit.
Okay.
So
Like, we don't do that enough.
Yeah, exactly, right? Here's a little bit of a complainted area and some things I've been trying to get off my chest to you and to our listeners here. And that is, I do not understand. This is, like, way out of left field, okay? But it's been on my mind. I don't understand the stupid billboards that have, like, the dentist billboards that have a before and after.
Oh, my gosh. Nobody needs to see that.
I don't need to see that. I don't need to be driving early morning and just, ouch. Oh, my eye is just being destroyed by rotten teeth, by people who are disgusting human beings and cannot take care of their teeth. And then they go to the and then they're like, they go to the dentist and it's completely fixed. You really think somebody who had rotten teeth like that is going to be able to just take care of whatever you just gave them?
Well, it's probably like dentures now or something.
Yeah, probably, but still, it's just disgusting. Like, every time I see, there's one specific one.
Yeah.
Right off of Frankfurt.
It's no way to start your day.
And it just destroys my eyes every single time I see it. And I'm like, why? No one wants to see that. I realize we have dentists. I don't need the proof that they work.
Dude, you're so right. I mean, we don't pay attention to kind of aesthetics anymore, you know? Like, I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of Jonathan Peugeot, as I told you.
Yeah.
And I don't know, that guy has a great channel. You guys should check it out. Jonathan Peugeot. He's kind of like my favorite YouTuber right now. And I think his take would probably be like, oh, well, yeah, we don't pay attention to the aesthetics of our city anymore, you know? Yeah. Like, you drive around and like, you have the telephone poles going, the wires, you know. I guess in some areas we do better with that, but just kind of like not paying attention to just beauty in your home. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Like, it has an impact on you. Like, you know, you have to go to like Germany or something and check out the old medieval towns. Yeah. And what does everybody say? Like, freaking gorgeous. It's, you know? So Can you imagine living there? Uh-huh. And I mean, that has an impact on your life. Like, I don't know, the aesthetics of the town.
You know, it makes me think of. Sorry, I don't mean.
Oh no.
But it's like, makes me think of what people lived in those times, and then all of a sudden, like, this is probably not realistic, but like, not the right way to think of it. But I think of, like, in that time, what were people saying? Like, oh, you know, like, I don't know. Let's pretend like it's like a stop sign or something.
Uh-huh.
Like, do you see that ugly sign that says stop? What? I don't need that sign to tell me to stop.
No, I mean, that's not. Yeah, I kind of agree. Like and I get it. Like, we do things for practicality, right? Yeah. And it's like, okay, well, we have the power lines and the telephone lines and everything. Well, right, because I mean, it's for practicality. It's going to give us this amazing thing. Mm-hmm. But I think we do tend to lose sight of just, okay, how do we, I don't know, like, what do we want our home to look like? Yeah. Where we're going to be living. Yeah, definitely. And kind of spending time. I don't know. It seemed it's just something that people don't think of a lot. Right. I think.
Definitely. So. Yeah. Yeah. Well, anything else you got to get off your chest, Joe? While we're in this complainted area.
No, man. I'm gonna try not to complain.
Sounds good.
Life is good.
Good for you. Good for you. You know.
I mean, I might complain a little bit about the Star Wars franchise.
Here we go. But, here we go. Let's get into it. So today on our show, we're going to be reviewing and talking about Star Wars Episode 9. So that's Star Wars.
The Rise of Skywalker.
The Rise of Skywalker. Okay. Which, just in the name, I have some complaints here.
Oh.
Yes. And spoiler alert right here, guys. So if you are like tuning in, you're like, oh, let's, well, I mean, it should be in the title if you're tuning in.
Oh
but
yeah,
still,
yeah. This will be a
we'll put it, but
spoiler. This will be a
definitely-
spoiler review.
This is your last warning right here.
Yeah.
Spoiler. Okay. If you haven't seen Star Wars, go watch it and then listen to our show.
Yeah, you've had some time to go watch it. I think it's fair for us to
Yeah.
do a spoiler review here.
Yeah. I think it speaks volume that when we went, there was like nobody. I felt like a
Dude, yeah. I mean, it
was what? How many days after? 2 days after.
Oh man, I forget. 2 or 3 days.
We went on Monday, so it was 3
Yeah.
days after.
Yeah.
9:45.
Yeah, I mean, you would expect a little bit more of a crowd, I think,
expected a
for
lot
Star
more,
Wars,
right,
and
for sure.
it's the holiday break and everything. But yeah, it was pretty empty. Like there's no atmosphere, unfortunately. But
Yeah.
no, I mean there's a lot that I liked, honestly,
So,
about
let's
the
start
movie.
with this. First impressions. Here
Sure.
we go.
Okay.
So just, first impressions of the movie. Like, let's start with the positive first impressions.
Yeah.
So what do you think? Go.
To me, what sticks out is I kind of the characters that were developed the most were, of course, Rey and Kylo, and their interaction is very good. I think that they have really good chemistry on the screen.
Yeah, definitely.
And I really do like the story of them as it ended. The problem with the story between them is I feel like in the middle movie it doesn't make much sense. Like it doesn't make much sense until now, which is it's the third movie.
Yeah.
And so it's almost like you have middle and ending on this last film.
Yeah.
And what
Totally, I agree with that. Yes.
now what oh man, I'm blanking on the director's name. J.J. Abrams. What J.J. Abrams did, and I guess
He's trying to
whoever's
save-
doing
I mean, like,
the
he's
screenplay.
literally just trying to save. Like,
Yeah.
It just seemed like that to me.
That's
But, yeah.
true. But no, but I think what they end up doing with Rey and Kylo is very effective, and it was pretty good storytelling about them towards the end.
Uh-huh.
And I mean, what a way to end the film. Like I thought it was a very beautiful moment. At the end, of course, where Kylo kind of gives his life for Rey,
Yeah.
which goes to show
The
you
better of the two, I guess you could say, or whatever. But
the better.
of the two, like I guess you could argue he's kind of thinking, who's the better of us two? It's you,
Oh.
Rey, I'm gonna die.
Yeah,
for you kind of thing.
or maybe he's not even really thinking that. It's just kind of just an act of love,
But that's true. Yeah.
So no, I mean that was beautiful, right?
Yeah.
And it was really cool, like the fight scene, like how she's able to give him the lightsaber, when
that was
he's
super
battling
cool.
the Knights of Ren. That was awesome.
That was really
That's a
cool.
great scene.
A lot of cool things.
So no, to me that's the highlight is that. The highlight is Kylo and Rey, and kind of that really cool scene
Dynamic.
at the end, and the sacrificial scene, very beautiful. So that's what stands out for me as a positive.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm trying not to get to the negative nitpicks.
Yeah,
or
not
anything,
yet.
but, I think I totally agree with that. I think a couple other highlights would be just as a Star Wars fan in general,
Mhm.
having the Emperor come back. I think there are some problems with it to me, but and
Especially as to how.
picking and how, all
Yeah.
that stuff. But I think that was a good call. I don't know if that's J.J. Abrams' call or anything like that.
Yeah.
If not, whoever's it is.
Yeah.
I think that was good, especially after Episode 8. Who knows when that idea came into play.
Right. Yeah.
It could have been something that was going to be the idea the whole time.
Right.
But I thought that was pretty cool, just as far as just nostalgic and like, oh, cool, the Emperor,
Yeah.
And another, I guess, highlight would just be a lot of the action. I know I'm an action person, so a lot of the like galactic action stuff was pretty cool.
Oh yeah. I mean,
Just
especially like the first scene when Poe and Finn are in the Millennium Falcon, and they're escaping the the First Order.
And he's doing
Correct.
the hyper
Yeah.
jumps or whatever. Like
That was cool,
Yeah.
and that action scene was nice actually.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. So let's get into now. Let's kind of talk. Well, I don't know if we want to get straight into nitpicks.
Well, I mean,
Do you want to?
it's just that setting aside any nitpicking, like there's just some overall problems with how Disney just handled this trilogy in the first place.
Yeah.
Like the biggest problem is they actually didn't have a complete story from beginning to end, from the very beginning. You know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Obviously they kind of just played it out as they're going along,
Mm-hmm.
and the whole thing about changing directors midway through just kind of come on. I mean, it throws off the whole. It doesn't become like an actual whole. You know, it feels fragmented, and it totally is. It's like obviously fragmented.
Yeah.
So, and I guess one of the biggest problems is especially the middle movie.
Yeah.
You know, in the first movie, like, I mean, Sal, I don't know about you, but after watching The Force Awakens, immediately I was like, oh yes, this was awesome.
Yeah,
you
totally.
know?
Me too.
But it was only with time though that I kind of realized that actually there are some problems here, especially for the trilogy going forward. You know, it kind of dawns on you how much of a Mary Sue character Rey is in the first movie.
Yeah.
You know, and to state the obvious, you know, like how she's able to use the Force immediately.
Right.
Like she's able to defeat her enemy immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, you know, you look at the original trilogy, of course that wouldn't have been a thing. Of course Luke Skywalker wouldn't have been able to immediately have not even like a good fight against Vader, let alone like actually kind of defeat him in that combat.
Right.
You know.
Exactly.
But like the thing is, we kind of got carried away with, oh man, it looks so much like the original Star Wars, you know, like visually, right? Visually, like the way the ships look and everything. And what did Abrams do in that first movie? Like, hey, we kept hearing from you guys that you kind of hated the prequels because it's all CGI and stuff like that. It doesn't look like the original.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, well here I'm going to give you like scene for scene the same plot as A New Hope. Yeah. You know, except that, you know, the Jedi character here is kind of, you know, perfect.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So, you know, that's a problem. Like looking watching the prequels again, it's like, sure, the prequels don't look like Star Wars because of the CGI, but the story and everything, like, it really feels like Star Wars.
Yeah.
You know, you definitely see that.
And that's
George
because
Lucas has a
George
hand
Lucas.
in it.
It's
Yeah.
George. Yeah. I mean, he directed them, so it's like he's got a full hand in it.
Yeah,
in
like
the storyline.
Sure,
Yeah, so true.
like there are a lot of problems with like how the Force is treated. You know,
and the actors and stuff like that.
So like the main thrust of my argument that I want to make, and we can use this as kind of a launching point.
Yeah.
So again, at the end of The Force Awakens, I'm like, okay, well, maybe some issues there about how Rey is using the Force, but you know what? At least she's going to Luke, right? She finds Luke, and how does that movie end? Well, it ends with her kind of giving him the lightsaber, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, oh man, that's awesome. So like now she's gonna have her training with Luke, just like Luke was trained by Yoda. You know, it makes sense.
Exactly,
Okay, that's gonna be pretty awesome.
I was
And
so
of course,
excited about that.
yeah,
I remember being really excited.
I know.
Yeah.
And so of course, The Last Jedi, how does it start? Well, it starts by Luke taking that lightsaber and what? Throws it away.
Oh,
you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
So he grabs it and he throws it.
Yeah.
And it's like the movie is saying, yeah. All those conventions about good storytelling, we're not going to follow those. You know, we don't really care. We don't really care about the hero's journey kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know,
and Luke is just like, oh, I hate this. This is all dumb.
So first of all,
I hated that.
First of all, I mean, I thought Luke had achieved kind of master. He's a master Jedi, essentially.
Exactly.
Like you see his maturity as, you know, going up to the Return of the Jedi.
Yeah.
And now you're just going to tell me that in between he becomes this like sour person, etc. Like, why ruin this guy's character? You know?
Yeah.
And so, but what's the point? Like the point that they're making here is that Rey doesn't need a training. Like that's obviously the point that is being made in the middle movie. in The Last Jedi,
Yeah.
you know, and I guess part of in The Force Awakens. Like, she doesn't need to be taught,
Yeah.
you know. In the Empire, if you compare the middle movies from the 2 trilogies, we have to make a comparison of The Empire Strikes Back to The Last Jedi,
Yeah.
right? And in The Empire Strikes Back, what does Luke do? He goes to the Dagobah system to get trained by Yoda.
Yeah.
Why? Luke is strong with the Force. Rey is strong with the Force. But what does it mean for Luke to be strong with the Force? It means that he can potentially achieve prowess with the Force, right? Potentially.
Yeah.
He needs training. Like, the Force is something out there that he needs to learn from. Yeah, he needs to learn it from people.
Right, exactly.
It's something that he needs to incorporate into his life, and he needs to work on his personal flaws, you know? So, like, in The Empire Strikes Back, you have the scene of the cave, and you also have a scene of the cave in The Last Jedi, right? So, like, right before he goes into the cave, Luke is, like, training with Yoda, and Yoda's telling him about the Force, and, beware of the dark side, blah, 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 you know, fear and all this. Fear leads to hate, all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then Luke is like, oh, what's this cave, you know? And Yoda's like, oh, that area is strong with the dark side of the Force. In you must go, says Yoda, right?
Yeah.
And so in goes Luke, and he goes in there, and he has this vision, right, of Vader. He sees Vader, and he starts fighting Vader, and he kills him. This is like just a vision, right?
Right.
And so then, like, he cuts his head off. And then the head on the floor, it explodes, and it's him, right?
Yeah.
So actually, Luke is thinking, oh, my only problem in life is my enemy. You know, that's the problem.
Yeah.
Once I defeat my enemy, then my problems are solved. And so this vision is showing him, no, the problem can be within yourself.
Yeah.
You have to destroy the dark side within you. Like, you have to fight that. So in other words, look, what you're seeing here is the hero's journey.
Yeah.
Luke is going to be the hero of the story.
Yeah.
But in order for him to truly be the hero, he needs to be able to defeat his own demons. He has to be cast down, right?
Yeah.
How does the Empire Strikes Back end? How does it end? Luke is minus a hand. He's dangling from this tower or whatever, you know. Like they were defeated, right? They were defeated, and that's kind of shown in the cave scene. It's like, oh no, you're gonna have to tackle your own demons first, you know, if you're going to arise. How does a hero's journey go? You go to the bottom. It's like the death part of the journey,
right?
And then there's the resurrection part of the journey.
Yeah.
You know, you go down, you go up. And that's done for a reason, guys, because that's good storytelling. Good storytelling is good storytelling for a reason. It's not just random, right?
Yeah.
There's certain things that are going to resonate with our soul. They're only, you know, there's a reason why certain stories resonate within us, right?
Yeah.
And in The Last Jedi, they're like, forget that, you know, screw that noise. Like, she doesn't need any training. Are you kidding me? She's like strong with the Force. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
And so she's there in Luke's home planet. I forget its name. And so she also feels this calling to go into this cave. But who's not there with her? Luke is not there with her as her master, you know?
No.
She's not told to go in. She just goes in. And so when she goes into the cave, she doesn't really face any of her demons. It's not a question of her facing her demons. And yet she's also going to see a picture of herself. Like, you can see that they totally know what they're doing. It's not like they're ignorant about this, you know? They're drawing the parallel to The Empire Strikes Back. And she sees this, like, mirror, right? And she says, oh, show them to me. Show me my parents. So what Rey is concerned about, she's not concerned about how do I improve myself, right? How do I tackle my demons? She's more like, what's the source of my power? That's kind of her motivation. Like, where do I come from? What's the source of my power? And she's thinking, okay, well, what's my story? Who are my parents? And so she asks, hey, who are my parents? AKA translate that as, what's the source of my power?
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And what does she see? She sees herself. When she sees herself, she's not seeing herself like Luke saw himself as like, oh, I need to focus on my flaws. I need to focus on my imperfections. No, it's more like, hey, I'm the source of my own power. That's what we see in Rey's cave scene.
Right, exactly.
So instead of being a exercise of self-improvement, with Rey it becomes an exercise of self-adulation.
Yeah.
And think of that what you may, that does not account for good storytelling. That does not lead to good storytelling.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Uh-uh.
So, like, at the end of the Last Jedi, we don't have that same angst. We don't have that same fear, right?
Yeah.
That evil is going to win in the end.
Exactly.
No, we're just like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. You know, like, what's Rey going to do now?
That's what makes me think.
Yeah.
That's what makes me think. And, again, we said spoilers, guys. Okay? That's what makes me think, like, I wonder if the end game was that she's a Palpatine. Is that the end game, or is that them saying, like, oh, well, this explains all that. She's a Palpatine, so
right.
here's you being afraid that the dark side's gonna win. You know, like making up for that.
I see. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm wondering when that comes in.
No, right, and that's the thing. Like in the Rise of Skywalker, what we see, probably after the incredible blowback, because there was just amazing blowback after the Last Jedi. Like everybody's just crapping on this movie, right?
Yeah.
And like what you see in the Last Jedi is Abrams just sticking it to Rian Johnson, like no, okay, we're gonna fix that, we're gonna fix that.
And that was the problem with me. That's why it was so hard for me to watch this movie and not think
it's trying to count for two movies.
Yeah, and here's my thing with it, and I think you're making awesome points. I hate to cut you off.
Oh no.
Because I think everything you're saying is really, really, really good. But when the movie started, it started really, really fast. I mean, like super fast.
Absolutely.
It was like the first 20 minutes, you knew exactly what was happening. I felt like you were already in like an hour into the movie, you know.
And the very fact of that like jumping scene, like the light, that's kind of almost like a model for the movie.
Yeah, exactly. and here's the thing. And then I started thinking about other movies, other trilogy movies. Mm-hmm. And yes, most other trilogy movies are the same way, but the first two movies have already been slow and given me everything I know.
Yeah.
In this case, it's something completely different.
Yeah.
The second movie, the Last Jedi, ended like a normal like it was the end. I didn't feel like it was much of a cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So then this movie starts, and I'm like, well, I don't really know what's going on.
Exactly.
I just know that was kind of a crappy movie, and there's a lot of bad things, you know. And The Force Awakens has been a while now. You know, like you're not really building off of maybe some things you're building off of from The Force Awakens, and so it was like, wow, this is really fast. And here we go. Like it just seemed like I don't know. It didn't seem very. It was hard to watch.
Yeah.
Thinking that, you know,
it
was just distracting, I think, too.
Honestly, like I've never seen a movie that tries to do so much, you know, like let alone the fast pace. The reason it feels so fast paced is because so many different things happen.
Yeah.
Because again, it's trying to correct all of the problems with the second movie. It's really being two movies at once.
Yeah.
Like for instance, think about how so now we see Rey training, and it turns out Leia's been training her, you know?
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, like, that was...
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's
she
the
calls
corrective.
her master, too, right?
Yeah.
It's just like... I mean, it just was a problem. And then, like, I mean, no offense to there's no indication... Like, in the old movies, and talking about Leia, it was a point to make it that she was not a Jedi. That was a point. She had the Force and she was strong with the Force. Yeah. But there was no indication, or there was no like telling of her like, oh well, she's gonna obviously become a Jedi and be mastered with a saber and all that. And they kind of like were like just saying that and insinuating that. And I thought that was weird. I thought it was cool that Leia wasn't a Jedi, but she was with the Force, and she was like the politician.
Right,
you know,
right.
And they still showed that, but then they said, oh, but at one point she was a Jedi and was really awesome with the saber. Like, it just that didn't make sense to me.
No, I'm glad you say that, because that's certainly the impression that you would have. So, for instance, you know, people will reply, well, it turns out that in the books, that that Leia does become a Jedi. So there is kind of a storyline where she is a Jedi. That's in the books. Now, granted, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the Star Wars movies shouldn't really use, in my opinion, shouldn't be based off of anything that happens in the books. You know, it should be just what the story is as the movies go.
Exactly.
I think that's what's appropriate. So that's actually a very valid point, Sal. I mean, it's obviously very clear in the original trilogy that Leia is strong with the Force in her own way. You know, she's not going to be this this Jedi Knight or anything. You know, but you're right, kind of just a different angle. So if you're only looking at the movies, it does kind of feel a little bit weird that suddenly, it turns out that she became a Jedi, etc. Yeah. But my point though is, setting that aside, it's like they realize, oh man, like we totally made Rey into this Mary Sue, so now we have to say, oh no, she's training. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she's training with Leia, and they even have that scene just like in The Empire Strikes Back, where remember Luke leaves Dagobah, and Yoda says your training is not complete. You know, so she also has a moment like, oh, like my training is not complete. Like she tells Leia, oh, I didn't finish that track or whatever. You know, I didn't finish that training course. She didn't explicitly say my training isn't complete, but it's kind of like a throwaway thing, like, oh yeah, you know, I should have practiced more or something like that. Or she has that discussion with Poe, like, oh, you know, Poe is like, hey, you need to get out there. Yeah, she's like, oh, well, I'm training, blah blah blah. See, that's completely incongruous with what had happened in the first two movies. Right, like, you know what I'm saying? No, so definitely. That's an example of them patching things up. Right. Right. Yeah, they're like, we're screwing this up. Okay. And so anyway, so that's one example. Like another thing, you see a little detail of them trying to patch up things, like what the heck with Snoke, right? So so they figure, so the Emperor, I made him. Yeah. Oh, that explains it. Thank you. So
how did you come back to life? How about we just square that up?
Yeah, that too. Yeah, but like explaining Snoke in a 2-second thing, like, oh yeah, I made him. Okay, so all throughout the movie you're like, okay, patch kind of thing. Yeah. And right, that's another thing. Like, I mean, I guess it's kind of cool that the Emperor's back, but at the same time, I don't know.
There were some problems, like, for instance, when everyone else, like, in the Resistance finds out, and Leia finds out, it's kind of just like, oh, he's back.
Yeah.
It's not like a, holy crap, the Emperor is here. Like, we're all going to die. Yeah. Like, this is a problem, you know? Yeah. It was so, like...
It's just out of nowhere.
Been there,
it's kind of weird how it's just out of nowhere. And
like Leia's not like freaking out. Like I'd be freaking out if I was like Leia or Luke or Han if those guys were alive, you know. But
I know,
like I'd be freaking out. I'm like, oh gosh, like how did this happen? I thought he died. This is why we celebrated a couple years ago, right?
Yeah. So it's like, so think about how crazy this is. It's like they're just bypassing completely any kind of logic that you would have for the evil side of the Force from the first two movies. Like, it's who's the First Order, you know? Let's learn more about them. Oh my gosh, Snoke and Kylo Ren, like, you know, just like, no, just never mind all that. It's just the Emperor the whole time. Like,
and then we'll get to the Last Order. You know,
again, that not very good storytelling. Like, it just kind of shows you the flaws of the trilogy as it kind of moves on.
If I hear the voice of the Emperor on The Force Awakens, and it's like we don't see it, and then we hear it, then and we don't see it until we don't see him until the third one, or the ninth one. All right. Then I'm sold. Then I'm like, okay, because then there's time to tell me how he came back.
Or even so, I would even say, even if it happens in the middle movie, that's appropriate. You know, the middle movie is so important. Like the middle movie, by the end of watching a middle movie of a trilogy, you need to really know who the bad guys are, who the good guys are, where the story's kind of going. You know what I'm saying? If you don't, then it's just gonna get messed up at the end.
And why? Or just keep Snoke. Like, I thought Snoke, like, was cool in Force Awakens.
Sure, as long as we kind of get a backstory about him.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, sorry.
Like, I loved. In fact, I loved a lot of the rumors that came from the first one. You know, after the seventh one. You know, a lot of rumors that I've just felt like, oh, surely this could be it. You know, if not, I don't know. Like for instance, a lot of rumors of Darth
Maul?
Plagueis.
Pelagius, yeah.
Or Pelagius, or whatever.
Right.
You know, a lot of those kind of rumors, kind of pulling back from other Star Wars.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
You know,
I know.
Or the rumors of Rey just being born of the Force, like Anakin.
Yeah.
Things like that. Like
Yeah.
those were cool rumors.
I know.
That just didn't happen.
Right.
And it's like, and then you see how bad the 8th one was, and you're like, wow, like I could have written this story a lot better.
I know.
Than them, you know.
Yeah.
And I know that going back now, going to the 9th one, going to Rise of Skywalker. This was, I think, the better of the 3.
Yeah, I think so.
I still think like maybe the 7th, but because the 7th was it was the first one, like it sucks because it was good.
Uh-huh.
But like there were some problems, like you said, you
Yep.
know, like especially all the Rey stuff.
Yep.
But it like people left happy with it.
Yeah.
You know, but it was setting up the next, and the next sucked. So that makes it to where the 9th was the better one.
Yeah.
And I know there's still nitpicks,
Mhm.
but it's but I think that's a good thing too. You know.
Yeah.
Like, you know, we're sitting here like dissecting this film because I think if it was a bad film, we wouldn't spend the time dissecting it. You know,
Right.
We'd just be like, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna waste my time with it.
No. And another thing about this trilogy, another reason why this trilogy will go on in history, is just blatant relying on nostalgia. You know, blatantly, you know.
Exactly.
and again, and we could have made these criticisms right off of the first movie, and it's valid, but you know, you're still like, oh, okay, but you know, it's gonna be good though. It's gonna be good. Trust me.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you kind of see, just like the first movie was like, okay, let's take New Hope as a model and pretty much use that. So likewise here, you know, it's like, dang, very much like the Return of the Jedi, you know, even ending up on Endor as well.
Yeah, exactly.
So, you know,
I was okay with the parallels in the 7th one.
Yeah.
Because it's been so long since the Star Wars movie came out.
Sure.
And yeah, go ahead, pull those heartstrings. That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm all for it. And they just clearly didn't know what to do when they tried to go on their own on the 8th. And then what do? It's a crapshoot. I guess we go back to the heartstrings.
Yeah.
And that's all. Because
Right.
that's what we got going for us. Because there's no fixing this, but by doing that,
Right.
which just sucks. And that's one of the big problems that everyone has with it.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, there's so many other things. Like I loved in the 7th movie the idea of taking a stormtrooper and becoming like one of the good guys. I thought that was was like beautiful. J.J.
That's
Abrams,
true.
thank you for making that really cool. And then the story arc for Finn is one of the worst story arcs I have. I mean, it's not even complete. It's one of the worst I've ever seen.
Exactly.
And
That's
it
like
just
the
sucks.
last criticism I wanted to make. Like, just like the other characters, besides Rey and Kylo Ren, nobody is well developed. You know, like you really don't resonate with any of the characters.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty terrible with Finn. I mean, there's so much good potential there. It's like, what was his deal? You know.
Yeah.
Even like, it would. At the end of The Last Jedi, for example, I guess maybe that was something. Like, he was kind of cowardly in The Force Awakens, you know?
Yeah.
And then, okay, well, now he's going to do something very manly, you know?
Right,
and just like the general, I forget her name, the lady with the purple hair, just like she sacrificed herself.
Oh, right,
you know?
yeah.
Okay, well, now, you know, Finn is going to sacrifice himself. You know? And the movie's like, no.
I would have been totally okay with that.
Absolutely.
That would
they're
have been
like,
the right thing to do.
Yeah,
honestly.
and you're like, oh, hey, that's gonna be a cool moment, you know. I mean, and like, no, the movie's like, no, we're not gonna do that.
Yeah. Which, okay, here's the thing. I'm okay with keeping Finn. Then just don't do that scene at all.
Of course.
And
of
find
course.
something else. Do whatever. You know.
Yeah, leaving it like that was really just left a bad taste in your mouth. I mean.
Yeah, and his side mission, like it was like.
Oh my gosh! Don't even get me started with that.
Killing him off would have like would have made us forget about that side mission.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I mean, that shouldn't have existed. Like, what
Yeah,
the
no.
heck, dude? Just so that they could free the ponies? What the crap is that? I
Oh, that
mean,
was so stupid.
so bad.
Yeah. And the whole idea of going to like a 20s kind of like you know, because it was like a 20s feel, right?
What do you mean?
The place they go to, the planet they go to,
Oh.
and that party.
Oh, like, yeah, like Vegas.
Or was
yeah.
it Vegas kind of like?
I guess.
Can't
Yeah, I
even
don't know.
remember. Dude.
Yeah.
It just came on Disney Plus, and I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
watch it again.
No, yeah,
you
yeah,
know, and
yeah.
just kind of and kind of just try to refresh my memory.
Right, of course.
Which I should have done before this, but
Oh.
but yeah, I don't know. It was just a big problem with Finn, and like, see, then in this last one, like he's just kind of like a third wheel.
Yep. I think it's kind of weird how there are no like love interests for Poe or for Finn. You know.
Yeah. Exactly.
I mean, these are two dudes. Like, I mean, you know, like
it's the feel. It's like, okay, that's the awkward thing too.
it was awkward.
It's like there's Rey, who kind of takes place of Luke,
Mhm.
and then you got Leia and Han, but instead you have Finn and Poe.
Yeah.
And you know, I know we talked about how the whole thing of them maybe playing around with them two having kind of like
That was an idea, right? Yeah,
know,
I think.
having a love interest between them, and I understand that would have been a huge controversy.
Yeah.
You know, regardless of what people believe and what you think, like that just I think that would have been a problem, and a lot of people would have had a problem with that.
So instead, they just toy with the idea.
They just toy with the idea
And
then
leave
there's
it open-ended.
awkward tension, and then
Yeah.
it's like, okay.
Oh,
well,
so Rose and Finn, are they going to be a thing? Like,
yeah,
I mean,
and then
it's
Poe,
important.
this new
It's
character we
important to
see
have
that,
love
like, he
interests.
yeah.
It's important to have
Yeah.
those. You know.
I mean, like that was huge. Like the love interest between Han and Leia
Of course.
was really. I mean, like it was
great.
One of the big driving forces of the movie too.
Absolutely.
You know.
One of the great Hollywood romances on
Exactly.
screen. You know. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, it just kind of it's another thing to kind of be looking for, aside from also the story arc of Luke, right? And then in this case, they just completely botched the story arc of Finn. And Poe's Poe, whatever.
Yeah.
I kind of like his character. He's a cool pilot.
Yeah.
He kind of leads, and that's fine. Whatever, you know. But he's kind of incomplete because of Finn being incomplete.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I think they should have had a love interest between the two
Right.
of them, but they just didn't really do much with them. So
No, I know. Yeah, I mean, they don't really connect. I mean, I feel like they just don't connect that well.
Yeah.
So.
And I want to make just I know we're going kind of long now, but I do want to say I agree with you. I liked Kylo and Rey like save the movie and save the trilogy in a sense.
Yep.
You know, because they're good actors.
Mm-hmm.
They are
Very good actors. Absolutely.
I mean, like some of the best in the whole Star Wars franchise.
Yep.
You know, and I like their connection. You know, and I like the cool scenes where like they find where they are.
Yeah.
With like the objects
Oh
and
yeah,
stuff
that's
like
so
that. Like,
great.
That's super cool.
I know.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
Again, we can get into the whole like, she's that powerful already? You know,
Yeah.
him, I believe he's powerful.
Uh-huh.
Right? I like the fact that they put his helmet back on and he has that.
Yeah.
I was like, I love that Kylo Ren. That was super cool.
Of course.
He's like a little girl in the 8th one. You know?
Right.
But so that was cool, and so their interactions are awesome. The action was cool. Like the actual action then the fighting between them was awesome.
Yeah.
Her healing him was cool.
Yeah.
You know, because they found out Leia died, which was kind of random. She just like laid down and was like, and died, right? Because she is like actually dead. So you can't. They don't. I'm sure that was like we don't have enough footage, and she didn't die in the 8th one. So what do we do?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So that must have been kind of hard,
Right.
And then it turned into like a nitpick because it's like, oh crap. All right. So, but anyways, my problem with it is his turn to the light, right?
Uh-huh.
It just it was not. It just kind of was like a switch, and I would have been okay with it if the whole point of the Rise of Skywalker is him being alive and him being the Rise of Skywalker and taking up his name and being Ben Skywalker, you know. And instead, at the end, it's Rey looking at Luke and Leia and saying, I'm Rey Skywalker.
Oh, right.
You know? And, I mean, I guess that's fine, too, but I was really hopeful that, like, there's going to be more of a dramatic turn, and then he gets a chance to, like, to make amends and become Ben Skywalker. Right. Because he is truly a Skywalker.
Yeah.
You know?
Well,
and so, I don't know, like... Maybe it's just because I know it contradicts the cool scene of him making a sacrifice, which is always an awesome part of storytelling. Yep. It's classic. It's awesome, right? But I don't know. It just...
Well, let me see if I can help a little bit. I have a little bit of a different take. I mean, I thought that worked kind of well. So first of all, it's always been a struggle with him, actually, from the very beginning. You know, even in The Force Awakens, you can tell that he's conflicted about it. You know, and think about how Rey always tells him, "Hey, I've been in your head. I know that you struggle with this question all the time." You know, So to me, it actually kind of makes sense. And so then, when she does this act for him, it kind of puts him over the top. You know, and he goes over to the light side. I think that was fine. You know. And so I thought that scene with Solo was pretty good, and he throws his lightsaber. I thought that scene was great.
Yeah, that was cool.
And as for the Rise of Skywalker, I think it works on two levels. I think it refers to both of them. You know, think about how the Emperor said, "Oh, go down just like I went down." You know, so you see the descent of Skywalker, and then what does he do? He climbs out of there. So I think that's the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah,
he rises, and he saves. What? Yeah,
you get a little goosebumps. Yeah, okay, that's true.
So I thought that was pretty effective, actually, and
so yes, I think you're right. Thinking about it again, you changed my mind. Okay, I think that's cool. And then I think about it too. If he would have lived, it would have been awkward because then it's like, okay, he killed Han. This dude needs to like pay for that.
Yeah.
You know, like like he needs to pay for all his sins.
Right.
Maybe I just don't think Rey should have been. Rey Skywalker. It should have been. It's just Rey. It's just Rey. It's just Rey again. I don't need the Palpatine name because that's a disgrace.
Yeah.
But I'm not a Skywalker. I'm not a Skywalker. She's not a Skywalker. You know, like from the very beginning of the movie, she's always just been Rey, right? And maybe if I don't know if then that's a problem with the point you make, where it's like it's all about her kind of thing, and she doesn't belong to anybody or anything, right? Yeah. And so maybe that's a problem. But I think it's also I don't know. It just bothers me that she's not really a Skywalker. And you don't have to be a Skywalker to be a Jedi, right?
Yeah, no, I know.
So, like, maybe just kind of stick to that and say, I'm just Rey, you know? And I'm not Rey Skywalker. And then you're like, okay. But so everyone was thinking, oh, maybe this is, maybe she's, like, related somehow. You know, remember that was, like, rumors? She's related somehow. Yeah. You know, she's maybe Luke's daughter or maybe, like, a bastard child of somebody, you know, or something like that. Yeah. And that wasn't the case. It's like, no, she's a Palpatine, but then at the end, she's like, I'm Skywalker.
I don't know. I think I'm okay with it.
Okay, yeah.
I think I'm okay with it. Just like,
I don't know.
Just kind of reiterating again that patchwork of her being trained, you know. So I think she kind of feels like adopted by them. Yeah. You know, she has the deep connection with Leia, of course, Luke. And Kylo.
But then she has the kiss and the love interest.
Yeah. So, you know, I don't know. I think it kind of works. Like, I don't know. Yeah, I guess you're right that it is. Well, wait. So it makes you think like, oh, wait, Skywalker? Like, why?
Yeah.
So that maybe.
Yeah, it was kind of weird.
Yeah.
And I did like that she went to Tatooine. That was cool.
Oh, yeah. Oh, man, yeah.
That was really cool. And just seeing the set and seeing the suns.
Yeah, yeah.
That was super cool.
Hey, cue the music. Oh my gosh, come on.
Yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of great things that J.J.
Hey,
Abrams
I
did.
enjoyed the movie. I really did. Like, I enjoyed it more than I was. Of course, you know, we kind of get on our high horse and critique it. But
Mhm.
honestly, there are good reasons for which to shake your fist at Disney a little bit
Yeah.
for kind of messing up the franchise a bit. I mean, come on. If you're going to do a trilogy of Star Wars, you
Yeah.
better get your ducks in a row, man. Like,
Yeah.
they did not have their ducks in a row. We're kind of at the age in movies now where movies are done by focus group testing.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like, okay, do the first one, and then let's kind of see what people are saying,
Mhm.
and then kind of take it from there. No.
Yeah.
Please have a vision of exactly what's going to happen in each movie.
Yes.
Okay, plan it out first. Make the artistic decisions,
Mhm.
okay? And even if those decisions are going to be problematic, whatever, stick with it, because one of the most important things that is required in a trilogy or in a movie generally is a coherent vision.
And
This is an incoherent vision.
yeah.
So
This is why, and this is a hot take, but it is a true, I think it's completely true.
Mhm.
I mean, like, if you want to email us at the starters,
Mm.
the starters. Oh my God, I'm an idiot. If you want to email us at the worldviewpros@gmail.com, or on Facebook, you want to say something to us, or you want to tweet me, at me on on Twitter or whatever. This is a true take right here. The best trilogy out there, the best fictional, trilogy out there is the Lord of the Rings trilogy. It is easily in the films the best, better than I think Star Wars, the 4, 5, 6. That's an awesome trilogy. Again, we can talk about it here, but you want to know why it's awesome? It's because Peter Jackson took 3 years
Yeah.
to prepare for these films.
No, you're right.
They won. The Return of the King won way more awards than any other fiction. I mean, okay, this I didn't do my research on.
Oh.
But maybe that's not true. But I think he won more awards than any other third movie in a trilogy.
It's beautifully made.
It's just awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Never mind the fact that if you've read the books like we have, and there are problems, and the books are far better, and I think that's totally fine. That's okay. That's normal. When it comes to wonderful stories. Okay?
No, but yeah, the time that Jackson took on it. I mean,
Yeah, it was great. There's not a single one of those 3 movies that I'm thinking this is terribly made.
No way.
It's really bad.
No, of course not.
And
Yeah.
yes, you're going off of an amazing book.
Yeah.
But still, like, the way the films are made
Right.
was awesome, and especially being in the early 2000s.
Yeah, people mess up books all the time, this was, I mean, just the balance of the
It was made
films.
at the same time as Star Wars 1, 2, 3. Look
Right.
at Star Wars 1, 2, 3. Look at
Yeah.
the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
No, I know.
Tell me. I mean, like, you can still watch the Lord of the Rings right now and be like, oh, did this just come out?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
Oh
you could
man,
still
my
say
gosh,
that.
it holds up. Yeah, incredibly.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
So, my point, like, getting to what your point is saying, that you please
have to do things right.
You have to have a full
Do
story.
it right.
And you have to take the time to make it.
Yeah.
And that even goes with making money.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll make you more money.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, of course. Yeah, this focus group stuff, Sal. I'm telling you, dude.
Yeah.
Like all the movies you watch nowadays, like they even have to do like the Chinese focus group,
Yeah,
like the whole
exactly.
thing with the Top Gun that he can't wear his Taiwanese shield and stuff like this. Like, oh my gosh,
right,
dude!
yeah.
Like every freaking box has to be checked with
That's
the
crazy.
groups,
Yeah.
and that means less art. That means
Mhm.
no artistic vision. It's just
exactly.
gosh. Kind of a bad time for filmmaking.
Yeah, I agree. And especially after this, like, big Marvel run,
Yeah.
like, that's kind of like, that was kind of a light in the in this, like, problematic
Mm-hmm.
time of filmmaking.
Yep.
It was like, yes, these are huge films, and you have to make these huge films that account for the masses of the world.
Sal has all the smoke on him.
All over. Oh my gosh. So, but at least these films are being made that are huge films that are easy for the whole world to watch.
Yep.
But there still is some artistic freedom in this.
Yeah.
And they're really good films. And now they're kind of over.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep.
Sure, they're still making some.
Yeah,
some
but
coming
no,
out, but
it's not the same.
It's not the Infinity Stone.
Right. Story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, this has been fun talking about this. I do want to mention and this is just to get you guys to think about it. You guys can go research some of these problems, some of these issues that I had written down / also found online. So a couple of them being like Chewie's medal. Some people say it was the worst moment because it symbolizes a lot of issues. You know, Chewie finally getting the medal he deserved from a New Hope, like.
Wow. Why? Yeah. Why bring that up?
Yeah.
Right now?
Even though he didn't actually get a medal in the movie, you know. So it was just kind of weird that.
So that's what that was. I was wondering. Hey.
Remember that medal? At
yeah.
the very end?
So that's from A New Hope. Oh,
Yeah.
I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it wasn't even like earned. Like he didn't earn it. Like it was just weird.
No.
It was really weird. And then two other things. One thing we've already talked about the Force and how there was kind of an imbalance of the Force. The healing was kind of like, okay, we hadn't seen that before.
Exactly. Yeah, I know.
It's like Luke's hand didn't get healed, you know.
Right.
Or it just was kind of an imbalance.
I know.
It's like all of a sudden
they're
the Force is just way more powerful than
exactly.
before.
It's not following the rules. Like these things have to follow established rules from the movie itself.
Yeah.
That shows you the incoherence, the disparity, the disjointedness.
Like Yoda was never that powerful.
Yeah.
And Yoda should have been immensely powerful.
Of course, the most powerful. Yeah.
The most powerful. Yeah. And then the last thing is the Knights of Ren. I thought that was a cool idea to have the Knights of Ren. I read on an article that they asked J.J. Abrams what he think would be a cool spin-off film, and they might still make it. They might still make a film of the Knights of Ren, which I'd go watch.
Yeah,
I think that would be cool. But in this film, they didn't do anything. They just fought. They were just there.
Yeah,
and there was no kind of, even just a little something like about the Knights.
Sure, yeah.
To kind of set something up like that.
Yeah, like what's your culture?
But I do realize that there was already a lot of just patching and trying to make this film good.
Exactly.
So those are a couple things maybe that, if you guys are listening, we want to look up and see just kind of what people have to say about those things.
Yep. Well, it's been pretty cool, Sal. So good ideas. I mean, unfortunately, it is what it is. There's some positive, but all in all, this trilogy has been a little bit of a heartbreaker, actually.
Yeah.
But you know
I
what?
agree.
I don't know. Maybe we take it too seriously, right? Yeah. I don't know.
And I think it's over. I mean, they say that it's over. That as far as just the storyline of.
Oh, well, right. Yeah. I think that's the point. That they put that the Skywalker saga is at an end. So now Disney is gonna just do who knows what they'll do.
Yeah.
But,
And I hope that there's still like anything in the future. I think what makes Star Wars the best for me is the Jedi.
Yeah.
And so I
want to see more Jedis.
I don't know if I'm gonna be into like. I'll still watch things that are gonna be like, just purely like non-Jedi stuff, like just
like you have the Mandalorian series.
That's really cool.
Yeah,
I need to catch up
I'm
on
enjoying
it. It's
it.
been really cool.
Yeah, but again, no Jedis, right?
Yeah.
Like
I mean, there is the little Yoda thing, but
right.
I don't know anything yet. I don't know. You might be further into it than I am now because I just stopped watching after 2 or 3 episodes because I've just been busy. So, I mean, maybe that's the future. Maybe there is some Jedi that are going to show up in shows or even in this show. But, it's not like a long-standing show. It's like a mini-series, I think, from what I understand. So, I just want to see Jedi later on, like if whatever Disney does, you know. But, if not, then, I'll still watch stuff. But
hey, if
I
all
think that's what makes it the best.
I'm predicting that, I'm just really going to hold on to George Lucas's Star Wars, and that's going to be Star Wars for me, Yeah. I don't have much faith.
It's been like that for years.
I don't have much faith that Disney's going to do anything that really kind of grips me a whole lot,
Right, yeah.
But, I'll still watch all the stuff and probably enjoy it somewhat. But
yeah, exactly. Awesome. Well, it's been great just talking about it. Thanks for tuning in and listening to the Worldview Bros. If you like what you hear, go check us out on iTunes and Spotify, Google Play. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram, on Facebook. Like our page. And if you have any questions, you have any input, you have anything that we didn't cover, or you just want to rant, that's totally fine about Star Wars. Then just email us at theworldviewbros@gmail.com. Again, thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you next time on The Worldview Bros.
All right, see you guys.